Welcome to At the Water Cooler, live from Lower East Side, New York City. I am absolutely delighted today to be joined by an industry icon, Mr. Rob Mayhew. Rob is known for his killer insights, his relatable content in the world of marketing, his wholesome jumpers. He has gone from working in agency life to being a comedy creator to now being what I think is a comedic superstar with millions of followers across TikTok, Instagram, and of course, LinkedIn. He has a way of exposing the joy, the pains, and often the ridiculousness of the industry we know and love. And no Cannes Lion festival would be complete without a Rob Mayhew selfie on the Croisette. We see his content and we say, yep, that's someone in my office, or often even worse, yep, that's me. So Rob, I am delighted to have you join us at the Water Cooler today. And I want to hear all about your meteoric rise to industry icon status. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
Very happy to have you.
Thank you for coming to New York to do this.
It's fine, and I'm very happy to be here. So Rob, I'm going to get straight into it if that's okay, and I'm going to hopefully grill you with some tricky questions.
I want some tricky questions.
But also, I want to find out about the real Rob Mayhew today. So
Okay.
I want to start at the beginning, and I want to go back to those golden days in Felixstowe, where you're from. I'd love to learn a little bit about, tell us a little bit about the early days of your career. I want to eventually get to where you are today, but what were the early working experience of Rob, and how did some of those shape you maybe?
So, taking you right back, 1980, was born in Felixstowe, Suffolk, Blue Army, and quite a sheltered childhood. I was the youngest of three, and lived in a nice little village. My mum was a teacher, nurse teacher. My dad was an accountant. Nothing from the business.
Yep.
My childhood was great. I wasn't very academic. I wasn't stupid. Do we can use that word now? But I was very curious.
Okay.
I did okay GCSEs, did okay A-level. Adam was, doing all right
I'm
there.
not judging, you can...
I had a couple of jobs, Virgin Records in Ipswich. I drove the train around, this is an exclusive, I drove the little steam train, like toy one, that little kids go on around the seafront.
Okay.
Which is a great, that was one of my favourite summers. I just did that, got really brown. And if anyone was hosing the gardens, I'd drive over the hose and derail the train, all the kids would fall off. But yeah, my childhood was great. And but I was very sheltered.
Yeah.
And so university to me was something I wanted to do just to get away. Went to Nottingham Trent, did business studies because it was the most generic thing I could think of. 4-year course. And then there was 1 year where you had to go and spend a year at business in a, what's it called? A placement year?
Yeah, placement.
There we go. And I applied for like Boots. I applied for Co-op, like all the big ones everyone wanted to go to that were sort of near Nottingham. None of them would have me. I failed every interview. And then
let's hope today goes a little bit better.
I hope so. And then it got a little bit like close to the wire. And they're like, well, look, there's this agency in London who do like below the line marketing. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But they'll probably have you. And so I went there and I knew nothing. I didn't know about, I think I'd read Eating the Big Fish by Andy Law. And so that was my sort of introduction to like agency life and advertising. And I went to this place in Marylebone, just off Baker Street. And I was like, it's full of young people. Even though my client was like, Joe Wiggins, the paper manufacturer, it just felt very sexy. It was shopper marketing. It was point of sale, the glory days.
Yeah.
AI does all that now.
Yeah.
I loved that year. I spent a year there, but I got thrown out of university because I failed finance and accounts.
Right, okay.
I kept retaking it. I had to go back up to Nottingham to retake it. Kept failing. They went, well, you can't come back. So Debbie, who ran Team LGM, where I was at, phoned them up and said, if you don't put Rob back on the course, we won't have any more students. They put me back on the course.
Wow.
Exactly. And I got a 2-1.
Wow. There we go.
2-1.
So she saw, what is it that she saw in you that they didn't see, do you think?
I think that I was very enthusiastic. I always think for junior people, the bar's very low.
Yeah.
You have to come in with enthusiasm,
Yeah.
like can-do attitude, and everyone's very easily impressed.
Yeah.
And I remind people that all the time. Just show up, go to brainstorms, just take part, ask if you can help, be hungry.
Yeah, I agree
and
with
I
that.
had that, and I was never the hardest working person. I was never the most creative, but I was the most curious, and I think I was a frustrated creative. I was an account handler. I started as a junior account exec. So I went back to university, got my 2-1, then came back over to London, got a sales job. They made me cut off my mullet.
Right.
If I wanted the job, they went to me, if you want this job, you need to sort your hair out.
Right.
I went, is that normal? You don't think you could do that there now? Got rid of my mullet, very good mullet, and got a sales job selling advertising for Professional Engineering magazine.
Okay, sexy.
Really enjoyed it though. Again, it was a nice office overlooking St James's Park. I just loved it. I loved the buzz of it, the thrill of like selling space. But then I got an interview. So that's when I met Ali Wallace.
Right.
Who, DNA, he's basically got me every job I've ever had.
Okay.
And he got me a job at BD Network, which was based in Kentish Town. And on my first day there, I was walking, I got out from Kentish Town West, and I was walking up. I went to walk in the door, and this couple came out. They were wearing red and white. I was like, that's the White Stripes. I was like, no, it can't be. It must be like the creative team.
Yeah.
I was like, it must be, it's the White Stripes. Anyway, I spent the day, and it turns out there was Spring Studios was above it.
Of course.
So there were celebrities in and out, and that's where my love of celebrities came on.
Okay. And you've never let it go since.
Oh, never let it go since. So I should have got a picture of the White Stripes, didn't, because I thought it was a creative team. But I loved my time at BD Network. I think, the first agency you go to is very formative. Like you make a lot of friends for life because you just sort of don't know anyone.
Yeah.
And it was shopper marketing. I learned about sales. At the minute, we were very much driven by vanity metrics about clicks and views and all of that. But I'm always thinking about, well, is this selling a product?
Yeah.
And so I think it helped inform my sort of changing career a little bit. I did sort of shopper marketing for about 5-6 years, and then Facebook was born. I went over to work at I'll miss a couple of agencies out, but I went over to work at Exposure PR.
And that was quite formative for you as well, actually.
Yeah,
I've heard you talk about Exposure before.
BD Network and Exposure were the two
big ones.
Two big ones, really. I was at Exposure for like 5 years, I think.
Yeah, mid-20s.
Mid-20s.
Perfect time.
Peak Mayhew.
Yeah.
Good bod.
Yeah.
That's a good bod. Wearing...
Better bod.
Better bod. I'd go down. They felt bad for me. They used to let me take some samples from because it was a fashion PR agency. We did the sales promotion-y bit of it, but they were just great. Round Tim, the owners, they're still independent.
Yeah, amazing agency.
Amazing agency, just very creative. And I think that's sort of when Facebook started, and me and Seb there started their social digital division.
Right.
Digital became social division. And we went from a sort of a team of 2 to quite a big team there.
Yep.
And it was just very excited. You were building tabs on Facebook and charging hundreds of thousands of pounds for because the clients didn't know. They were like, we need to do this thing. We were building apps on Find My Tent apps for Rizzler on Blackberries,
right?
Which is a no-go.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You don't go near Blackberry, which is because it's gone now. But it was just so much fun.
Yeah.
I think around that time, I was like, I'd love to be a creative, but
It's hard to jump from one side. Yeah. It's hard to be credible jumping from one side to the other.
Exactly. So I left there, and then I went to a few different agencies, Ogilvy Social Lab. I went to ARC, sort of kind of doing a bit of sales promotion, a bit of, this is freelancing, heading up the influencer program, influencer at Fleischmann Hillard. Well, this is a good bit for you. Simon Massey, who now runs Neverland, or founded Neverland, had a festival called Leaning Stock. And I said, I want to be a stand-up comedian. So rather than going and just doing that, I said, look, give me some stage time at this festival. There's 200 people there. He gave me 20 minutes.
Wow.
Which isn't, you don't give someone who's never done it before 20 minutes. So I went up. You give someone I had 2 minutes of material. I was shit-faced.
Right.
I went up and I bombed.
Right, okay.
There were kids running around. I didn't make an appropriate joke. I made some very inappropriate jokes. It was not very family friendly material. And so I didn't do stand-up again for like 10 years. But I then started to do stand-up comedy. Not like 5 nights a week, but sort of 3 nights a week. I hosted a night with Alfie Noakes at, what was it called? We Are Funny Project in Dalston. And I was really enjoying that. And at that time, so COVID started. And around that time, TikTok started.
Right.
Or TikTok started to get bigger and more noticeable. And I'd fallen out of love with social media, which wasn't great when you're like part of a Ogilvy social lab, social team. I started to freelance, and then TikTok came along. And so I couldn't do my stand-up anymore because of COVID. Mm-hmm. So I was sort of getting a bit frustrated, creatively, should I say. So I thought, do you know what? This TikTok thing seems amazing. Yeah. I hadn't at this point filmed anything, but I thought I'm going to
2020 or
2020.
Okay, so the early
well,
pandemic.
Even then, I thought I was late.
Yeah.
Because it'd been going for like a year and a bit.
Yeah.
And I'd already seen a couple of like comedians. It just seemed like, oh, you just need a phone and a ring light to make this content. So I then went on YouTube. I learned everything I could about TikTok. I went on a few agencies were doing webinars, so I'd go and photograph all their slides on the screen, and then repurpose them as my own, and then kind of position myself. Within 6 weeks, I became a TikTok expert, and I thought, well, I'll start creating some content myself so I can be a bit more of an authority of like how you make it. And so I started making these sketches. So not about the industry. For the first 8 months was just me walking down the street, making jokes, using my stand-up material, doing different characters, just experimenting with the format, just learning how to edit within the app, and just having fun with it. I was posting 8 times a day.
Wow.
I posted this sketch about the meeting room, and that blew up, and it got like 20,000 views. And I thought, a light bulb went off.
What was the content? What was the premise of that?
So it was, you go to the meeting room, and you've booked it, or you think you've booked it, but there's someone in there.
Right.
And it was the interaction.
Yeah. Relatable for anyone who's ever worked in
Relatable.
it.
I did a green screen.
Yeah.
Which is another big thing. I suddenly realized, if I just take pictures of the internet and have that behind me within the app, so I didn't have like a green thing, I just did it within the app, I can film from my bedroom. I don't even have to leave I don't even have to shower. Yep. I don't have to leave the house.
Lovely.
So that was a big moment for me. And another
How did you feel? When you hit that sort of 20K,
just
the validation of it all.
The buzz of it, because I think deep down you know when you've made a good piece of content.
Yeah.
And I still get that now. I'm like, this is going to do really well.
Yeah. Did you know though, before you posted that one,
yeah.
Did you think this one's good? I feel this one.
Yes, and also because it was an original take. I hadn't seen anyone I'd seen some workplace things, but nothing sort of as specific as that. And then quite quickly I niched down and suddenly realized I'm going to just do content around agency life, because that's what I know. 20 years of working in agency. Started creating these sketches, and I loved it, and I still love it. It took me about 6 months of then making these. So I was about a year in, and I started wearing these sweaters in all my sketches. I bought like 4 of them. They're like £300 each.
Wow.
Not cheap jumpers, Adam.
No, they don't look cheap.
They've got a store around the corner if you want to go.
Okay. I'll have a wander after.
And I thought, if I wear these jumpers, I wonder if I'll get sent free ones.
Right. That was the plan. That's where they came from.
Everyone thinks, brand. It was branding, but I was thinking, I just want these free jumpers.
And what made you do it in the first place? What was the
jumpers?
Yeah. Where did that little
because I knew
from?
So you needed a hook, and I wanted to be recognizable, and I didn't want to have to worry about what I wore.
Right.
So I thought, if I just wear these 4 jumpers on rotation, I'll get free jumpers, and also it just saves me having to think about what I'm wearing. And then I just sort of made my sheep jumper like my hero jumper. So if I'm Rob, the founder, in the sketches, I'd wear that one.
Right. Okay.
And then Jack, who's the founder of Rowing Blazer, reached out to me at like 3 a.m. and said, go on the website, whatever you want. And I thought, I've made it now.
That was it.
Yeah.
Peak.
I never thought I was going to be a content creator. Even at this point, I was like, I wasn't thinking about making money from it. I wrote on a Post-it note, I'd love to make $3,500 a month from just making these sketches, just on top of my salary of my day job.
Yeah.
And I've still got that Post-it note. And I got my first brand deal, which was Get Here, delivery groceries.
Right.
I don't think they're no longer with us.
No.
Not my fault. A lot of the agencies I've worked at are no longer with us. Not my fault. But they gave me, I think it was like £1,200 for a sketch. This is before I got an agent.
Yeah.
And then I started to get more and more brands coming to me wanting me to create workplace sketches, because what I was able to identify is that I can talk about problems in the workplace that a brand can fix, whether it's B2C brands like what you're going to have for lunch, Pret a Manger or whatever, or B2B, which we'll come on to. They want to reach marketing professionals, then that's who the audience I was growing. And so I ended up thinking, well, maybe this is something I could do. This could be a job. But to say I was a content creator back then, I just didn't have the confidence to do that.
Okay.
I thought I was still going to be working in agency land forever. I got an agent, good old Raf, Talent and Brands, and that changed everything for me. He was able to kind of guide me. He's sort of a manager agent. He guided me. We explored what it's like to be. There weren't many B2B creators. There still aren't a huge amount. There's more now. I started posting on LinkedIn, and that changed everything as well.
Right. More so than TikTok, do you think?
I think so. Well, no, I mean, TikTok will always be my OG, and I still film everything on CapCut within TikTok. But I think I reached more of the right people to become a content creator on LinkedIn because I was able to manifest it in that I was able to follow everyone who worked at Corporate Traveller or everyone who worked at Workday. Or so I could, if I connected with all these people, then they'd start seeing my content and then they can discover me in their own time. Which is a good tip for creators out there. Just do that on LinkedIn. At this point on TikTok, I probably had like 150,000 followers, which was huge. I haven't grown much beyond that because I'm still in my niche. I don't care for. And as we know now, the real number of followers doesn't matter. It doesn't matter on TikTok. You should look at the engagement and look at the view numbers, and I've always had really steady, good volume of view numbers, and so I don't care that I'm not growing not getting millions of followers. I say that obviously, even the fact that I'm saying that, I'd love 1 million followers. But then on LinkedIn, I didn't even know there were followers. So I went from 200 followers to like 140,000 followers within a year, which is insane growth. And then I started thinking how I could go beyond just being a content creator. How could I take my stand-up things I've learned from doing stand-up, performing into the world, and start bringing these sketches to life on stage at award shows, or just giving keynotes about TikTok, which I started to do. And then I was invited to host some award shows. I was like, oh, well, how can I bring my comedy onto that stage, which is one of my favorite things in the world to do.
I think the thing that I always find interesting with creators is the move from normal working environment into creatorship. And I'm not saying there's a stigma, but the fear of what my friends or family will think about publishing so much content, and it holds a lot of people back. How did you feel when you were going from agency land to just having this creative outlet, posting 8 times a day, wearing the jumpers? It's quite a big leap from where you were. Was there ever a moment where you were like, oh, don't know how I feel about this? Or were you just all in from day one?
And I think having the backing of my wife, of just being really supportive, saying, you clearly love doing this. We never went out thinking this would be a job, but just follow that and something good will come from it. And I think just what happened when TikTok, and you know this from your agency, is that TikTok changed everything. It brought joy, creativity, it removed the barriers. We then had to start thinking about it becoming an entertainment discovery platform for brands. And I think personally, I don't do sort of lifestyle content. It's very much sort of in this world. So I'm not revealing a lot about myself. I'm revealing a lot about my professional life, which I don't mind. I think what I think's interesting about older creators as well is I've got 20 years of experience I can talk about. I'm also not at the beginning of my career. I have to be very careful about what I say. I think I can be a bit more bolder. and call people out, or just highlight some of the things about clients that if I was still working in an agency, they might be like, easy.
So let me change tack a little bit. So I think one of the things that you probably get asked a lot, or I always think about, is where you get the content from.
Yeah.
And as an extension of that, two extensions of that is like the office environment and culture and business culture is changing.
Yeah.
Where do you get your next wave from when you're no longer inside the agencies day to day? Like, how do you make sure that you're relevant to Gen Z, or more importantly, Gen Alpha in the next wave? Like, how do you think about this stuff?
Yeah.
How do you future-proof Rob Mayhew comedy? I know you're doing other things as well, but
No,
in this
I think
space.
I think you're right. So as of November, I became a full-time creator, and so I'm no longer working within an agency. I visit a lot of agencies. So I moved to New York last year in January, and I'm sort of introducing myself to a lot of agencies. So I spend a lot of time at agencies. Not a lot of time. It's different to working there and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I still feel like the things I'm making content about is still relevant.
Yeah.
In the 20 years, it hasn't changed. Pitching, client meetings, all of that is the fundamental things I make sketches about still exist. I'm really interested, and part of my job as a full-time creator now is to make sure I don't lose touch of what's happening.
Yeah.
So, which is why LinkedIn's really good for it, which is why I haven't left Twitter, X, whatever you call it, because I'm still like to understand what are conversations that are happening. When I make sketches about everyone needs to come into office on a Friday, I'm also fully aware that that's just not the world we are in at the minute.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's been such a shift that I'm completely out of the picture now.
Yeah.
But in 3 or 4 years' time, I do hope that the agency world does change enough that I still have to kind of like wrestle with like, okay, what's happening? What's changing? But I feel people are very vocal on LinkedIn, so I can get a sense of what is changing.
And do you ever see stuff in your comments that inspires you for the next piece of content, or
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. John, I'm going to call him. I can't remember. He wrote an X or maybe a LinkedIn post about culture in the office, and I went in. I thought all the comments were so interesting to me, and I thought I'm going to turn that into a sketch.
Right.
And I credited him. I get sent ideas a lot. One of the things I have to have experienced before I make a sketch. I couldn't just make a sketch, very specific thing about being in a media agency, because I haven't worked in one.
Yeah.
So I have to have experienced it and kind of get it and kind of understand it to be able to make a sketch about it. So, but I'm always inspired by people's response. So when I go on TikTok, especially, is very good for this. I'll look at an old post and I'll say, is there any ideas within the kind of comments of how they've taken like one of my sketches, like the meeting room one? Like, are they then making an interesting take on it? Like, and then it could be a future sketch.
Okay.
And I won't credit those people.
Fair. And how much do you use data in your content creation? Like, not in the creation, but in measuring what works and whether you're going to do that type of content or that. Is that a thing, or
very
not
little,
so much
to be honest?
Is it more in your gut?
It's more in my gut and my instinct. Not really. The data so I've started to experiment more now with other formats. So with long form.
Yep.
We'll come on to talk about YouTube in a minute, but I'm obsessed with YouTube. And I started to post so not just me, green screen. I've started to post other things onto like LinkedIn, for instance, which don't perform as well.
Right.
And so I'm conscious of that. But I also, because I love making those things, I know as a creator, makes the best thing you can. Whether no one's seeing it now, you'll get good at making that, and eventually people will see it. So you kind of have to back yourself when it comes to kind of pivoting and changing your formats a bit.
I think you also, as a creator, get known for something.
You do.
So to branch out into something else, the audience, it takes them a while.
I don't think it's even the audience. I think it's often the algorithm.
Right.
Especially on LinkedIn, they're like, well, we know that your audience loves this and you're doing this. It's like, and it might be, we might, rather than being sort of 1 minute, it might be sort of 17-minute video.
Right.
So, it's just something that I'm experimenting with, but that's what I get a lot of joy. My joy from is trying different formats, because I don't want to just be making sketches.
Yeah.
I want to continue to make sketches and post every day, which I will continue to do for the foreseeable future. Foreseeable. But I really am obsessed with YouTube.
Right.
Can't even
Why?
begin to tell you
What is it
how
about YouTube?
long form branded content is going to be the next big thing. It already feels like it's sort of moving that way.
Do you think people have been saying that for a long time?
They have.
And it hasn't come yet?
No, it hasn't come. But the data's now saying Gen Z are watching YouTube on the big screen, on the TV, at home, or on the laptop.
Shorts.
No, not just shorts, I don't think. Do you know it is shorts?
No.
No, it's
I'm
long.
asking.
Sorry,
Yeah,
fine.
what do you think?
No, it's long form.
I think it's different here in America than it is. And I think the
You might
potential
be
TikTok
right.
ban, my view, meant that a lot of brands particularly pivoted to YouTube because they were hooked on the algorithm and that short form content of TikTok. And then they were petrified it was going away. So they started to pivot towards YouTube. I don't know how it's
I tell you what, I think
changed
what's
since.
happening now is that the audience are watching YouTube. They're willing to commit 20 minutes or 30 minutes watching something. And it's much cheaper to make that thing now, to make a show like a chicken shop date or a hot wings. And that format is made brands think, oh, I understand that format. They probably didn't understand the Emma Chamberlain lifestyle long form. They couldn't understand where they fitted on that. Whereas they can understand chicken shop date. They can understand hot wings. And they're like, well, so why doesn't Rightmove have a property show? Why doesn't Moonpig have a birthday party show? Like, these are good ideas.
These are good. I'm just writing them down.
So I think we're
more?
seeing that. And there's also some really good creators out there who can front that content. And I'm interested in that. So I want to get ahead of that, master YouTube, and explore that. It's more expensive to do.
It is.
And
it's more involved.
It's more involved. Again, and as I said, the success of me on TikTok and LinkedIn is because there are no barriers. I can wake up, I can make 8 in a day and post them. Whereas YouTube takes some thought. So I'm trying a few different things. I've got a show called Friday Revival Club, which I filmed a pilot for, which I paid for myself. I filmed at an agency called Mojo Supermarket in Chinatown here in New York. And it's basically, the idea is that I want to make Fridays fun again. And it's kind of like TFI Friday meets a talk show. I had a guest, Mitch Wood, who's an amazing comedian. And I wanted to have music, but you can't have that on YouTube, so I need to find a way to work around that. And you can, but it's a bit more complicated. So it was an entertainment thing with lots of different segments. It was filmed on a Friday. It posted on a Friday. Friday Revival Club. It did well. But I need to find a sponsor who can then take. So I shoot it in a different office each time.
Okay.
I've got Elf Cosmetics, Spotify are interested in having it in their office, but I'm looking for like a brand to come and help me realize that.
There's the opportunity, ladies and gentlemen.
You can buy a package deal, and I'll integrate you into the show. It won't just be a badging exercise.
There we go.
And
the future of branded content is happening right now.
I want to prove a point that I want to show brands that you should be doing long form YouTube stuff, and I want to, rather than just believe in that, I'm thinking, well, I can just create that myself and do it myself. At the same time, I've got a YouTube show. Called, and Spotify put on there as well, called Merch Table. Because I love merch, Adam.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, band merch. Any show gig I go to, I buy the merch.
You've got some Coolr merch, no?
Yeah, got Coolr merch. And
we got you in early. We got you
very
in
early. And I wear it all the time, actually. But not in the content. I just wear it around the house. And basically, the idea of that is that I go for an artist. So I did, episode 1 was Olivia Rodrigo. I go for all of her. She's got like 400 pieces of merch. I go for every single piece of merch. I'm going to figure out the format. And then we pick one item that goes on the merch table. And then each season there'll be a table and I rate them and there's a winner.
Okay.
I just look, no one's watching it. Yet.
But that's the point.
That's the
That's the Gary Vee thing though as well, isn't it? You know, he went early and he talked a lot.
No one was watching my TikToks at the start.
Correct.
And I know what I'm starting now won't be in a year's time what it will end up being. Friday Revival Club will be more compact and better, and I'll find a way to bring music in and I'll have sponsorship and all of that stuff, and I can make it every week. Maybe even live stream it, because that's the next thing as well, live streaming, as we all know. And then with Merch Table, I just think that will be a fun thing. It probably won't be all the items that the artists have ever brought out, because that's quite boring to watch. And I host that with Claire Renze, who I met at Exposure.
Okay.
There you go.
Let me ask you some other kind of content creation related questions. The obvious one that I'll be lambasted for if I don't ask is about AI.
Yes.
And how are you using it, if at all? And how is it changing the content creation process for you? Everyone's obsessed with AI influencers. Is AI a thing for you, or?
Yeah, I think the thing about, and I think as a creative within the creative industry, it can't, AI can't, it replicates, it's like the average, isn't it? It's always based on the past. Whereas as a creative, your flaws, your experiences, your emotional, that, it can't replicate that. AI, though, I think is really exciting. Just like I have zero production skills, TikTok came along, I can now make video.
Yeah.
I can't edit. And so with YouTube, AI is fantastic for me. You've got things like Descript and Adobe, got some great tools, and CapCut, again, just for helping to edit. I do wonder, will there be a need for content creators if we're all just like having bespoke content made for us? Like, I want to watch, I want some jokes. I want to know jokes about New York and walk around what restaurants. It's just all going to be on this thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go on to TikTok to get food recommendations. I'm not going to go on, you might be able to put in, I want Rob Mayhew to do a sketch about this, and it will come up. And I mean, that'd be terrifying. But I wonder where it's going. But I think in the meantime, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing and just use AI as a tool to help me and kind of test me. And I'm always coming up with business ideas and like exciting, like, oh, I want to do a YouTube show about this. I use it for research about that. I think it's really good. I always like to use it to kind of, and it always agrees with you, doesn't it? It always says, Rob, this is a great idea. You are a genius. I'm like, thank you. Thank you so much.
I just want to touch on John Hegarty, because I know that was a big moment. I saw it on your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And he is an industry icon. I guess what I'm interested from a you perspective is, what have been the 2 or 3 tentpole moments where you were like, wow, I can't believe this has led to that? So that's, hanging out with John Hegarty and not just, oh, can I just say hello after a conference?
Yeah, him knowing who I am.
Yeah. What have been those 2 or 3 big moments where you just thought, wow, I can't believe this is where my career has ended up?
So the first one was going from account handler to creative.
Right.
Was the first one because of TikTok. I wouldn't say, I'm not an art director, I'm none of those. I'm a TikTok specific short form, long form creative. So that was the first one. The second one was being invited to Cannes the first year with TikTok.
Right.
And I've been, 4 times? Yeah. We met in Cannes, didn't we?
At TikTok's party, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
And that was a big, wow, I can't believe I'm here. Yeah. I've always wanted to go to
You weren't
Cannes.
just there, though.
No.
You were like king of the palais, almost. You were taken everywhere. You were it was access all areas.
It was access all areas. And then last year I was, at Spotify in the VIP bit. I couldn't get in there the first year. And I was on stage with Seal.
Yeah.
That was a big moment. But like Sir John Hegarty, just being able to reach out to people. I saw David Droga the other day in the corridor, and he went, oh, I know you. So I handed him a business card. So let's do coffee.
Right.
Cindy Gallop. Yeah. Just people who I look up to. Just those people, that's been a big wow moment. And then I think just being able to be a full-time creator, making enough money that I can do this full-time.
Yeah.
And like I'm off to Barcelona. I've been to Australia. I'm off to Brussels. I'm hosting the Effies, performing at the Effies.
Amazing.
I did that in the New York Effies. So performing is another big wow moment. So I did the Effies in New York. And I went on stage. I pretended I was giving an award out. I said, whilst I'm here, do you mind if I show you my creds? Because I'm an agency founder. And so I did 6 minutes. It killed. It was so funny.
Very good.
They were nicely drunk.
Right.
They loved it. American audiences, they do get it.
Right.
Everyone said, do they get your humor? They do get it. And so those moments, I love being on stage. I'm writing a book. I've got a literary agent now. So I'm writing a book. I won't give too much away.
How are you finding writing?
It's a discipline.
Right.
It's a real discipline.
And how are you finding that
Again,
discipline?
I'm keeping AI there.
Right.
I'm not, because it's so easy just to think, oh, what do you think of this? And it reformats. I'm like, that's not my voice.
Yeah.
So I'm writing a book about LinkedIn.
Okay.
Not about LinkedIn. It's about a founder who tells his story through LinkedIn posts.
Okay, interesting.
I don't want someone to steal the idea, but they won't.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's
Remember
happening.
the book E?
Yeah, this is what it's inspired by.
That's interesting.
Is that,
yeah,
so
that
this is a modern day version of E.
Yeah.
From an agency, 365 days. I think about you sometimes when I'm writing it because I'm a founder,
Oh, God.
and I've left my job and I'm starting an agency. It's 365
I'm now
days.
feeling a bit nervous.
Yes, no, you'll be fine. And just
Don't
that
name me.
journey, and then I'm also writing a screenplay as well,
Wow.
completely different about my time back in Felixstowe. So I'm just very blessed that I get to do this. I get to wake up, have an idea, make it. And that's the world we live in, is that it's never been a better time to be a content creator and a creative.
I'm going to wrap up a little bit, but I'm interested in, you've been on a non-conventional journey, really, to get to where you are. And when you started out in this industry, and it was Debbie who gave you the chance to finish your degree, I'm kind of interested in the next generation. And actually part of the reason for these At the Water podcast is to talk about the industry that we live in and the opportunities that didn't exist, all those in the 20th century.
Yeah.
What kind of lessons do you sort of think about passing on to the generation coming through, who are familiar and comfortable with being an influencer or a creator? What kind of things would you give them as sort of like your big practical tips, and also maybe a couple of things to totally avoid?
So I think it's an exciting time to come into the industry. I know it's changing and shifting, and we're going to lose some agencies. Some agencies are going to do really well. I think if you're young and hungry and curious, and more senior people don't have the time to go on TikTok every day and to consume YouTube and listen to the Colin and Samir podcast and all this stuff. Young people have that time and the energy to do that. So my advice is always become the expert in something, become the voice in the agency of something you're interested in, which is why I then pivoted to TikTok, so I could be that voice. And it's the same advice I was giving you. You can become an expert in anything within 6 weeks, I think, just by consuming a lot of it. So that is my first bit of advice, is just find something you're really interested in and, take it to your bosses, take presentations, do company meetings, and, submit a can to talk. That's just opened. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can submit a can talk and you might get selected.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like, why that shouldn't just be for the founders and the CMOs.
It's democratized anyway, but people don't realize.
All right, get 3 of your Gen Z friends, or Gen Alpha, I don't think they're at the workplace yet, but then say, we'll do a talk. Anyway, so that's a bit of advice there. The other one is like, back yourself. As a creator, if you go on my LinkedIn, you'll see I was a year here, a year there, a year. Like, I'd lost my way a bit. But I think it's okay to change. It's okay to not like an agency you're working at. It's okay to change and find the right one. You're never going to figure that out. It's going to take years to figure out the sort of place you want. People want different things.
Yep.
But I think that it's okay to change. Like, I became a creative director from being an account handler. I became a content creator from working in agency. So I think it's okay to change. You're never too old. You're never too late as well. But for the next generation, I think just use AI, learn all about AI. If you work with Adam, he doesn't have time to learn all about AI. He thinks he knows about it. He can talk very confidently to a client with it. But be the one that he takes into the client meetings, because you're the one who knows about AI. Because I think just being hungry and being enthusiastic, the bar is very low. If you bring those things to the party, you're going to go far, because people are tired.
Yep.
And people are so bogged down in their day-to-day that they just want to go home at the end of the day. Whereas if you bring that enthusiasm and the creative ideas, and you can have a career in this industry, because that's what I've done. I was not the smartest person in the room. I was not the hardest working, but I was always curious and always wanted to sort of help out and, put some music on if everyone's feeling a bit down.
Love it. Rob, I literally could listen to you all day, but I think we're out of time. But I want to say a huge thank you.
Pleasure.
Keep doing what you're doing. Please don't include me in any content. And thank you for being at the water cooler.
And can I just say, I love seeing, whenever we're in Cannes, I love seeing you. Whenever I see your face, it brings me so much joy. I love what you've done with your agency.
Thank you.
You've done such an amazing job, and you are at the cutting edge of like what's next for social, and like being an agency of record for social, for brands. I think if I was a brand, I'd want to work with you.
I will put that on my LinkedIn as a bio. So thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. But, I think we're all at this cusp of something new and changing and evolving, and we're all figuring it out. But there's no one I'd rather figure it out with. So thank you for joining At the Water Cooler.
Pleasure. Thank you.